Hello, and welcome to Grace and Gossip. You guys know we are coming to you. Well, I actually am coming to you on a Tuesday instead of Monday, because Monday I had a lot going on. And so I thought, you know what, this is a good show. So I wanted to make sure I had time to actually like have all the conversations. Specifically, a lot of people text me and was like, I think I saw you on Real Housewives of Atlanta. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that and just everything else that's going on. So I thought I would come to you guys on Tuesday. So I had the time. I had time today, right? So as I said, we're going to talk about Real Housewives of Atlanta. We're going to talk about, we got to follow up on oh my gosh, Papoose and Remy Ma. We're also going to talk about the Diddy trial and what happened today. And we touch on the AMAs just a little bit. I had a Fox segment earlier this morning where we talked about the AMA. So let's get into all of it. Now, I'm going to start with the Real Housewives of Atlanta because, first of all, yesterday's episode, Sunday's episode, was very, very, very important and like a pivot for in the season for a number of reasons. Most importantly, because we had the return of one Miss Phaedra Parks. So after much ado, and after being gone for numerous seasons, Phaedra Parks has returned with a check as she, so you guys see her here. If you're watching Bravo, you probably see her doing those Cheez-It Snap commercials. That is her new endorsement deal that she has with Cheez-Its. I did have an opportunity to chat with Phaedra. I should have pulled one of those clips, but I may pull one of those for a short on my YouTube channel. But I had the opportunity to interview Phaedra in preparation for her return to the show. And it was quite an interesting interview. I did ask her about her snapped endorsement deal. And I'll be honest with you guys, they actually sent me some snaps to try. And these are baked, not fried. So they're like a healthier type snack. They're actually, my husband really likes them. They're pretty good. But we tried those and then we talked to her about that. And being that Phaedra is an entertainment attorney, she is able to kind of work out her own deals. And so I think it's a really good look. Like the commercials are a little cheesy, but I mean, I guess that may be on brand for Cheez-Its. They're a little cheesy, but I mean, it's memorable. It's memorable. So that's what works, right? Memorable works. And so she is all glammed up in red to match the Cheez-Its bag. It's Phaedra, but her reappearance on Real Housewives of Atlanta is huge in my opinion, and I'll tell you why. First of all, if you watch the show, you know she was let go years ago. I'm sorry about that. She was let go years ago after she was caught in a lie. Now, I know she doesn't like to talk about the lie. And if you notice in the beginning when they brought her back, they just breezed over what the lie was. But several seasons ago, many, many moons ago, Porsha and Phaedra were known as Frick and Frack because they both, just like to have a good time. Really, that's because they both just like to twerk a lot. And so that was their thing. And so they were always fricking and a fracking and showing their posterior. So they were buddied up against Kandi Burruss. Now, it is so shocking to me why all the other women on the show do not like Kandi. I don't understand it. Recently we saw this interview with Nene and Tamar Braxton. I think I talked a little bit about that a couple of weeks ago. I thought it was ridiculous because basically Tamar body shame Money Love. Anyway, but they always end up talking about Kandi Burruss. Like Kandi ends up being someone that all the other women seem to have an issue with. And so Nene, Tamar, who is not even on Real Housewives, but who, is really good friends with most of the ladies because she lives here in Atlanta. Obviously, Phaedra had an issue with Kandi. It was just even Porsha at one point. Everybody has an issue with Kandi, and Kandi is the least problematic of all the housewives, which is crazy. You guys, Sugar Pie is back, but she is crying to be with her baby. Sugar Pie, Sugar Pie, lay down. Go back. Now we're not gonna do that. So anyway, in this many years ago issue, Phaedra basically told Porsha that she overheard Candy plotting to give her something and to give her something that may make her senses not be sharp, so that she would have a threesome with her and her husband Todd. Very alarming and illegal. Most importantly, illegal. If someone is to put something in your drink to make you be a little bit more receptive to doing something with them, it's a roofie. It's illegal. It's all of those things. So after Andy unraveled the lie, and it was revealed that Phaedra was at the bottom of it, and it was a very serious lie. It could have really, damaged Candy's career. Just period. Like, it's just a damaging lie. So Phaedra was let go from the show and was not able to return as long as Candy Burns was on the show, because Candy would not be on the show with Phaedra, with good reason. I would not be on the show with someone that tried to basically pin a felony on me. Like, that's crazy. So, yep. All right, guys, you guys, here we go. So Phaedra comes back. Candy leaves last season. Candy said that was going to be her last season. And so Phaedra comes back this season. She leaves Married to Medicine in the middle of the season, basically falls out on purpose when she realizes she's going to be able to go back to Real Housewives of Atlanta. She calls them miserable in medicine, and she heads back over. So Sunday night was her triumphant return. She looked great. And actually, I think bringing her back at this point on the Real Housewives is really smart. You have these newbies that are a bit disjointed from the rest of the cast. You have Porsha as the only OG who's really not OGing. It doesn't really feel like Porsha is able to hold that. Come back, Sugar Pie. Is able to hold that OG space. So I think that having Phaedra come back, you guys I don't know why I do not lock them out before I even start this, because they do this to me every time. But having Phaedra come back right now, I think is a good idea, because there's puppies as well. You guys there was a puppy sighting. I am so sorry. I'm trying to have pop culture conversation, and puppies are infiltrating along with the other dogs. So anyway, let me try to stay focused. All right. So Phaedra's back. I asked Phaedra, what did she think of the other lady? She was very politically correct. She didn't really, even with Kenya, she wouldn't say anything negative. You could tell she's back in her housewife, era. She's back on her housewife vibes. She did say, which surprised me, that out of all the housewives this season, out of all the newbies, with Angela Oakley, Kelly Farrell, and Brit Edie, out of the favorite, can you guys imagine who was, out of the three, can you imagine who was her favorite? So I'll tell you that initially she told me that she didn't get to spend much time with Angela, because it seems like Angela has become the people's favorite. Angela's clapbacks and the fact that she's grown and is not afraid of the other women, I think that has kind of made her endearing to the Real Housewives fans, because she's just not willing to bow down to any of them, even the older ones. She's just, she'll talk back to her. She's just grown. She's not afraid. She's not, and she has a celebrity husband. Well, he's a pro athlete. Charles Oakley is a retired NBA player. So I think she kind of has confidence, and she doesn't feel like she needs to, bow down to anyone, because she's kind of always been in that space, or as long as she's been married to Mr. Charles Oakley. Even if the constant rumors around the city of Atlanta and beyond are that Mr. Oakley steps out from time to time, has a friend or so, has a very active social life that does not always include his wife. However, she's carrying it like a pro athlete wife should. Like, what does that have to do with me? I don't know anything about this. I have no proof. If you have no proof, then why are you bothering me? But everyone else seems to feel like Angela is the best addition. Phaedra said she didn't get to spend much time with Angela. And I wasn't sure if that was like a light shade or if that was just her truth, because she did come in so late in the season. She said Kelly was a good time. She said she was just all boobs and, you know, just boobs and good time. And she is. Every scene, Kelly's boobs are fighting to stay in her midriff, like her, because she always has something that is like small, right? Even though well, she has something that's tiny and she's small. She's small, but the clothes are tiny. And then the boobs are fighting to stay in or to get out. I'm not sure which one, but they're fighting. They're fighting, regardless of if it's a good fight, if it's to stay in or if it's to get out. There's a fight happening. Every scene. She does not wear anything that contains her boobs. She refuses. Even when she's with her kids, like it's just like she's obsessed with her boobs, which probably makes everyone else be obsessed with her boobs. So Phaedra mentioned her boobs, but Phaedra said her favorite newbie was Brit, which surprised me. But she said that she spent more time with Brit because she and Brit ended up being roommates, which is, I'm assuming, on this girl's trip to Grenada that they talked about. It has to be, because we heard Porsha, set up the meeting for Phaedra to join the girls in Grenada, which is probably going to be on the next episode coming up. They're going to head to Grenada, and Phaedra will be back. She'll be introduced to all the ladies, and she probably ends up rooming with Brit. Now, speaking of Brit, if you watched on Sunday, you know that Brit hosted out of the blue, right? The storyline is not as fluid as one would hope it to be, because basically they showed Kelly getting into this fight with Kenya sharing photos, right, of some indiscriminate acts and, intimate acts, right, that were captured on camera in photos that Kenya shared. According to Brit, this ruined her insurance career. Not sure. Angela questioned it along with the rest of us, but Brit never answered those questions. And so then we hear that Brit has decided to now make Skims, but by her, basically the same thing as Kim Kardashian's Skims line. It is supposed to be body shapers that make you feel naked. So the company is called Bare Naked. So I got an invite to this Polo classic. And as you guys know, if you watch this channel, I love all things horses. Now, I have been tricked numerous times because of this whole Cowboy Carter thing. Every person of color thinks they want to host a polo classic or a cowboy event, but there are no horses. So I attended the event because I thought that it was actually going to be polo. There is a huge polo event here. Miguel Wilson hosts one. Also, there's another organization, I can't think of the name of it right now, that's actually like a charity, and they host one. But I assumed, because it was being held at the Steeplechase, which is a beautiful property where they actually do polo matches, I assumed that there would be polo. So that's why I went. And I got dressed up. Girlfriend and I went, my girlfriend Erica. And so I'm going to show you guys the little BTS of us prior to, I think what was shown on the show is here also, but it basically was not what I thought it was going to be. There was no polo. again, and this is the second time that this has happened to me. It happened again at another event that I will talk about later once it airs for another show. But it was another polo classic that there was no polo. So at this point, I'm going to ask people to stop doing that. Like I don't. I know we're all embracing because of what Beyonce has presented. Everyone is really trying to embrace this, this idea of being into horses and things like that. But if you're not really going to do it, then just don't call it that. Don't call it a polo classic if there's no polo. Don't do that. Not even any polo, but nothing. Now, again, the location is gorgeous, gorgeous. So I thought that I would go because I know the location, and not only do they actually do polo matches there, but it's very equestrian driven. So I thought there would be some equestrian activities. So this is Erica and I.
Some open the box thinking, oh, it's gonna be something. Oh, and the box is like just sitting there like bare naked.
Okay, so as you guys saw, we were inside. That was the brunch. Before brunch, there was this little outdoor soiree. There were no horses. I saw last night that on Sunday night that there was golf. We didn't see any golf. I did see Shamia. I did interview Shamia when she got there. I talked to her. She looked great. She was dressed in black, which I think like the invite told us to like wear spring colors. Shamia was like, no, I'm going to be the eyes are going to be on me. So she had this Balenciaga jacket that was like a dress jacket. It was, obviously very expensive. And she had these furry booties but it was black. So she definitely stood out. Everybody else had on white or light colors. And so it was raining. It was, not really the best outdoor weather. So we came inside, and I just want to let you guys know that what you saw was true. So we weren't really sure what was happening, but there were place settings for all these tables, and it wasn't a lot of people there. Probably around 50 people total, if that. And so we sit down, and anytime you see a charger and a plate, right, and a table setting, and a menu, you assume that you're going to eat. And also, we were at like a steeplechase in their dining room where there is a restaurant right adjacent to that. So we assumed we were going to eat. So we did learn. In fact, the crazy thing is they didn't show last night is they actually put food out and then went and took it away. So they told us that we were not going to get to eat after food was already out. And then they took it away. And then they just fed the housewives. Also, we were there for Bare Naked. I was unfamiliar with Bare Naked before I got there. And so it would have been great to actually have actually been able to at least, I understand she didn't want to gift everyone, even though there were only about 50 people there. She didn't want to gift everyone with the Bare Naked essentials. However, they showed us a video, which was not very explanatory. It just was a girl in black shapewear. You didn't really see, it wasn't like an infomercial, right? And it would have been great if there were just some to see or to touch, but there were not. There were in brown boxes for the women at the table. So Erica and I politely gathered our things and we excused ourselves. Yeah. But it was definitely not what we expected. You just don't go to steeplechase and get dressed up and not even have a glass of water or anything. There was not an hors d'oeuvre. There was not a cracker. There was nothing. And Brit didn't really greet everyone. She did stand up at the table. We saw the ladies going back and forth. And I understand they're filming, but it left a bit to be desired, at the very least. So anyway, that was my experience. It was true to form. There was no food given. Like I said, not even water or a cracker. But I also will say, when I did see what people did have to eat, I believe there was salmon and there were like burgers, which not really Polo classic menu. It's not really the menu that you would expect at the steeplechase. There are burgers there, right? Because it's like a restaurant. But I'm just thinking, because everyone's all dressed up and you've got your fascinator, you've got your hat. Some people have on gloves. I don't know that a burger is really what I would have been expecting to eat. The salmon, yes, but definitely not the burger. Anyway, moving on. Good luck to Brit and Bare Naked. They did ask Porsha if she saw any similarities between Go Naked and Bare Naked. And Porsha definitely reminded the producer to put some respect on her name because she's had her company for over 10 years. So you got to respect that. Shouts out to Porsha for having the company for over 10 years. I know she also has some like home goods as well, like sheets and things like that, that I think we're going to feature in like some progress. You guys stay tuned for that. But yeah, I don't know about the Bare Naked. Yeah, and I will just say lastly before I move on, Brit's dress was so small that I don't even believe that she could have fit the shapewear under the dress because it was so small. Like, it was so small. I really don't think she had on Bare Naked. I think she was just Bare Naked under the dress. But anyway, moving on. Really quickly, I want to touch on the fact that you guys know we always watch Love is Blind, and we talk about it here, and I write about it a lot for Collider. And AD and Ashley, that's a bad picture, did a interview on AD's podcast. I didn't realize Eddie had a podcast until yesterday, and so I watched the entire interview. If you're not familiar, this is Ashley and Tyler. Ashley and Tyler were on the last season of Love is Blind, and aside from them having this storybook romance and getting married after meeting in the pods and not seeing each other, they both were very attractive, so that wasn't an issue. But there was a huge elephant in the room because Tyler had acted as a sperm donor and to one of his friends who has an alternative lifestyle, a young lady, and it was her wife at the time, I believe, wanted to have a baby. So Tyler agreed to do that. Now, he didn't tell Ashley or the producers about this. So of course, once you get on television, all these things come out. So not only had Tyler been a sperm donor for one baby, but he also had circled the block and he had gone back and had another baby because I guess the mother wanted to have all her children actually be related. But the kicker with this is Tyler did not contribute his essence as a donor. That time they did it the old-fashioned way. And they lived together for a while. So anyway, that little tidbit is really important to the story. So Tyler and Ashley go through their love story on Love is Blind. It comes out that he is a father because he's lied and told her that he doesn't have any children. They're talking about planning their future. He tells her that he does after it kind of comes to his attention that this is coming out. And Ashley stuck by his side. She stuck beside him. She defended him at her own expense. And 6 months later, filed for divorce. The rest of us here, the sister crew, sisters were waiting with open arms because we knew that she was a coming, right? We knew that any man that would lie that many times to you in less than a year of marriage is a huge red flag. And anyone that you have to defend to the point that you are defending a lie that he told you, and you're trying to make him look good to people who have your back, it's just never going to end well. So she's now, either they've been separated, well, they've been divorced, for a while, but they were separated even longer. She comes on and she talks to AD. What was interesting about that interview to me, because she didn't give a lot of detail, right? She still is, I think that she's a respectful girl, and she didn't want to give a lot of details. But what she did share is that the thing that she missed most about being a wife was the secret wives groups, like how women respect each other differently when they're wives. I thought that was very strange. She did say that she missed Tyler because they were friends. She missed their friendship and their bond. But I guess they didn't really have a lot of time to get to know each other. But I just thought that was weird to say that she missed that. Maybe women just want to be a wife more than they understand what that means, right? Maybe even more than they understand what type of man they should be a wife for, right? Ignore the sounds of the puppies in the back. Yeah, the time is running out. Sugar Pie's offspring are going to have to be off onto their own way soon. But the interview was interesting. What was most interesting to me was her choice of what she missed about being married. And then also the fact that I think AD is going to be doing the same thing, not in a short period of time. According to, reports, AD is engaged to another young man that was on Love is Blind UK, Ollie. I did not see that coming. She is allegedly pregnant. And I hate to be the bearer, because you guys know I love love. This is what this channel is all about. But I just have a sneaky suspicion that it's not going to take very long for her to be in Ashley's shoes. I just don't see that Ollie is really locked into her. I think that he is locked into being on television, which I think most people are that are on these reality shows, but I don't know that he is really locked into AD. And I think AD is just extremely happy, maybe like Ashley, to potentially be a wife and not necessarily understanding what qualities we need to look for in a man to be a wife too. So anyway, that was, to me, the most awkward thing was, girl, you probably gonna be here yourself, because you fell for Clay very quickly. When that didn't work, then she moved on to Ollie, and that moved really fast. And both of them have been on television. And Ollie, I just don't. I hope I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. You guys know I do that. But I don't think I'm wrong. I just don't think so. I just don't think it. So anyway, that is all I have to say about that. I'm going to move into the Remy Ma, Papoose, and Clarissa Shields debacle, because we talked a little bit about it last week. And this week, unfortunately, it's still living on. There was a photo. Let me see if I can pull that for you guys, because first things first, I am from the old school. You guys know that. I'm charm and etiquette coach to my bones. And I just feel like when a man is still married, when he's still legally married, he's still legally married, right? So we're having all this social media, tete-a-tete over a man who's still married and unable or unwilling to get a divorce. He just filed his papers 2 days ago. So that meant divorce was not a priority to him, because he could have done that before. He didn't, but he did it now, and he did it because all this hype is happening, right? So he is now in a relationship with Clarissa Shields, who is the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, female, right? Um, and he has become very, he's almost, without missing a beat, became the same person to her that he was to Remy Ma, right? So you guys know how Remy Ma was like, you know, blew up and had um, leaned back, and Papoose was just like the most supportive one, the most supportive guy. He was almost like a groupie that you actually like, if your man was a groupie. But that, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I mean, I think at first we thought it was good, but I always remember saying, and you guys can ask Scorpio Mo this, I always remember thinking to myself, like, it's great for your man to support you, but he needs to have his own thing also. He can't only support you. Like, if he only supports you, yikes. Because then I just feel like there's always going to be room for like jealousy and him to feel some kind of way. I just think that's inevitable. Whenever you are the only thing that he has going on, it just doesn't sit right. It feels like he's gonna eventually be resentful to you. And so we would see him, like, I damn near think he was the hype man a couple of times. Maybe not, but it felt like that. It felt like he was just constantly her hype man. Like, every time she performed, he's on the side, talking, always taking up for her. When other female rappers got into it with her, he's there, almost inserting himself in the beat, just like the biggest supporter, right? But only like a man who is a supporter but has his own thing going on would kind of carry it differently. But a man that's a supporter that you are his bread and butter, it just felt like cheerleader / groupie, right? So then this week we see footage of Clarissa, because she's getting ready for a fight. And we see her in the ring boxing, and then she goes to the side of the ring and he's there with her water bottle, like, you know, giving her water. And I'm not saying anything's wrong with that. I'm not saying anything's wrong. It just felt very familiar. Like, it felt very familiar. And I think that people show up as who they are in every situation. So when Remy is suggesting that he could be an opportunist and he could be connecting himself with Clarissa because she's young and she's successful, and then you get the picture of him standing on the sidelines with the water bottle, it just all feels like the story makes sense. So they've been going back and forth for the last, it's been almost a week. And so this picture was posted of Clarissa, and people are saying that Remy posted it. Now that's a picture of her when she was much younger. I know it's a little blurry there just because of the resolution, but you guys get the, bless her heart. This is the thing. And if I'm wrong, I'm welcome, and you guys always get me right. But Remy, if we take Remy's weave off and her makeup, because that picture of Clarissa, to be fair, she didn't have any weave on. She had a very short, natural cut, and no makeup, right? And her fighter stance. If we take Remy's makeup off and her weave off, we'll see a big difference in the presentation. I could be wrong. You guys let me know. But for Remy to post that, and Clarissa was like, you know, I hope that who I think posted this didn't, or whatever, and people were in the comments saying Remy posted it. We don't know if she did. I am hoping that she didn't, because I don't really see what's wrong with that picture, specifically coming from Remy Ma. It takes a lot of courage to just, especially now, right, to be without makeup. And you guys, I have a ridiculously full face on today because my makeup was done by our beauty editor, and so I wanted to use this as long as I could. But makeup is, you know, most women, especially that are in that limelight, are going to wear makeup and have weaves. So that picture, Clarissa, she just doesn't have that. I don't think that's really her thing. She doesn't seem like a girl that really does a lot of makeup or weave. But Remy seems like a girl that does. But if she doesn't, we could be here. We could definitely be here. We could be there quickly, quick, fast, and in a hurry. So I'm just saying that you let me know what you think. I didn't think that was really like a flex because first of all, she's younger, right? She's a younger woman. And she's definitely defending Pat quite a bit, but it's almost like exactly how Ashley was defending Tyler. And all of us were like, girl, come here, girl. This ain't gonna end good. Same thing. Remy knows this is not gonna end good. Pap, first of all, I think Pap is still in love with Remy. He just got the next best thing. It's a fighter chick. She may not have, blickies. She may have her fists. I don't know. But it's not giving like, I want something new. It's like, I want the same thing I had, except in a younger package. And I heard that he is allegedly pressuring her to have a child. Again, he is still married. He is still a whole married man. And if she has a child, Remy didn't want to have a child. You guys remember that when they were on Love and Hip Hop? Remy Ma was not trying to have a baby, but she agreed to do it. This baby girl, if she has a baby, is she going to be able to fight as brutally as she does? I don't think so. I mean, having a baby, it probably won't stop you from rapping, but it damn sure may stop you from boxing for a minute. Like, it takes your body 5 years to heal from having a baby. We know Beyonce tries to defy that, right? But Beyonce's not getting punched. Like, getting punched, you may need your body to be its most in its top deep. Like, I just don't know that giving birth is going to be good for boxing. I just can't imagine how it would be. But hopefully, all this will be taken out of the group chat. I just wanted to circle back to that because of the picture that was posted. And I was like, why is Remy making fun of her? Because I hope not. I don't like when people make fun. I don't like the shaming, especially when we are sitting right next to the person. Just doesn't make a lot of sense. So that's my 2 cents. You guys let me know what you think about that. Are you tired of hearing Remy Ma and Papoose? I think we are tired because we really were hoping they would work out. And the fact that they aren't and they're dragging all of us into it consistently is a little annoying. And it just seems very immature for 2 people that are extremely grown and have been in the public eye for a really long time. And Remy Ma's son is facing a murder trial, so it just doesn't feel but she may have time because she may be going through it. Sometimes when you're going through something, you have time. But it's sad, and I don't think we want to hear it. But I would say, ladies, my lesson in all of this is never be with a man that you have to provide everything. If he eats based on the work that you do, chances are he's going to resent you, and he's probably going to cheat on you while you're out there providing. So that's just my opinion. I'm just saying men don't seem to take kindly to providers. If they're not the provider, they use the provider. And if you want to be the provider in your relationship, that's totally on you, but just know you could be standing on the other side, same script, different cast, just looking like Remy Ma. Just saying. Let's move on to the Diddy case. All right. Now, this case is interesting. We're on week 3. This was day 1, week 3. Interestingly enough, there's so many people out there saying that he's going to get off without doing any time. That is what I've heard from, I've read people, the vast majority of my algorithm, because I know we all have different algorithms, right? The vast majority of my algorithm is stating that he's going to get off. He hasn't done anything that's criminal. He's just been a DV person. I mean, definitely guilty of DV, but he's not done anything that would constitute like racketeering or coercion. And it's interesting because I'm like, we're on, at that point, we're like 1 weekend, 2 weeks in, or 2 weeks in one day. And today was a difficult day. I'm not sure if it's still going on, but today was definitely a day that I am wondering if all those people that were predicting that he would not do any time, if they were aware that this date, like there's still more witnesses coming. I think it's important to note that the only reason that Cassie went first is because she was pregnant, like 9 months pregnant. Like, in fact, I believe she's in labor right now. So they wanted to get her in before she went into labor. And so that's why she was first. But there's so many other witnesses coming. The prosecution has, they're laying a case. They have 8 weeks to lay a case out. Today, Diddy's former assistant Capricorn testified. And I'm not going to lie, I was surprised by her testimony. I've met her before, working on a couple of projects that were bad boy adjacent. And I expected her to have his back. I expected her to lie to for him. I didn't expect her to say anything that would make him look bad. I was thoroughly shocked to hear that she talked about a very abusive work relationship. She mentioned him kidnapping her, him being, like verbally abusive, not paying her much. Like it just, I was very shocked that she had all this to say, especially after being with him for so long and being like the face of his company. I mean, for a long time, people knew that she was, the closest thing to access to him. I really did not expect her to have this type of, like, that's shocking to me that she would testify such kidnap, that he kidnapped her twice, I mean, I don't want to say that there was coercion, but to me, the definition of coercion is what we heard. There were weapons. She basically, confirmed the Kid Cudi story, which we had heard her name mentioned in that before, but she just told the story of being oppressed by this power-hungry, abusive, narcissistic boss. That would make you think, like, why would you stay there? Like, why would you have been there that long? But it definitely speaks to more than just, because I think people were focused on, okay, so he was a really bad boyfriend. But no, it was more than that. It was more than that. And he definitely used his empire, his company, to, do a lot of the things that he was doing, right? It was not on his own. It was under his business relationships. I think her testimony was extremely damaging because, again, when you talk about racketeering and trafficking, I don't know about the trafficking part as far as her testimony, but the racketeering as far as connecting business and profit of business with things that are illegal, it was really, really powerfully, persuasive, I think, for the prosecution. Now, the only thing that she did, it did kind of mess up Cassie's testimony, it made Cassie look bad, but I think there are so many things that have made Cassie look bad in this. She basically painted a picture of Cassie as being like this young girl that wanted to be famous and was willing to do whatever, and also was not extremely talented, and who wanted to knew that she was dating and she was in a relationship with the boss. And so she kind of used that to push her weight around. I don't think anybody was surprised to hear that, because I think it's important that we don't blame victims, but I also think that victims for this type of crime are usually characteristically a certain way, right? So they know it's important to get someone who prioritizes and values fame over most anything, right? because it's not even so much money as it is just the fame, the pursuit of being famous, the pursuit of being a celebrity, And so she testified that Cassie just was not very talented, and said that she was beautiful and had talent, but was not talented. That's deep. Says there were times when she would work hard, but she really only wanted to work when Diddy was around. And, I guess you could say he was her muse, or she was just a spoiled girl, whatever. But so her testimony it did kind of contradict some of Cassie's testimony. But again, Cassie's not on trial. Diddy is. And her testimony against him was really, really persuasive. And it was really, I think it was dangerous. It was definitely a huge day for the prosecution, because a woman that has been there and who was not involved in a romantic relationship, and to my understanding has not, filed a suit against you or anything like that, to come out and say all this stuff, it feels like that's definitely going to resonate with the jury. And we still have a long way to go. We still have over, like, we're not even halfway done, which is weird how people are just making assumptions about the direction of the trial when we're not even halfway to that point yet. But what we've seen so far has definitely been troubling, to say the least. She was involved with helping get things for these freak-offs. Like, it's intersecting with business at this point from this testimony. So we'll see what happens for the rest of this week. But I just wanted to give you guys that update because it shocked me that she did that. The fact that she actually spoke her truth. Her truth. I'm surprised that she did, because I just saw her as somebody that would always be there supporting Diddy regardless. These dogs, regardless of what the situation or circumstances were, right? So interesting. But people like that are that close to you and have that type of testimony, that to me is even more dangerous than Cassie, just because it's unbiased, right? So with Cassie, it's like, okay, well, that's a romantic relationship. So there's a lot of room for like blurred lines and context and all that. But with someone that's just your assistant, and you're talking about how he was like pressuring people and how he would be manipulating people, and that is a total different situation. And I think people can read that. It's a lot easier to come to a conclusion about than a romantic relationship. It's a lot more black and white. Like, this is illegal, right? You cannot have a business that you're running, that you're paying taxes on, and do X, Y, and Z. So it's not looking good. It's not looking good at all. But we still have a long way to go. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We shall see what happens. Other than that, I think that is about all I wanted to chat with you guys about today. I did a piece on Basketball Wives, and I think this season has been, it doesn't even feel like a really valid situation. It feels like it is the aftermath of Jennifer Williams' bad choice in marrying this 30-year-old investor with a questionable past, and the disillusion of her friendship with Jennifer ever. Like, we know that the friendship is never what it was again, but the way they're going back and forth with each other is crazy to me. Evelyn claims to have a family member through her ex, Carl, that was scammed by Christian, which is Jennifer's husband, while Christian's family, this was crazy. Christian's family came out in support of Jen, of course. And they said, well, why is Evelyn worried about Christian? Isn't her daughter's boyfriend a scammer, or no, a felon? And she was talking about the game. And I was like, that, first of all, why? First of all, Jennifer and her people love to bring Shanice into it. Is it because she knows that Evelyn will do anything for her daughter? Like, for me, if you do, you can say a lot, but if you say something about my daughter, whew, it's all bets are off. Like, I'm not gonna, all bets are off. So it's almost like, is she trying to goad her like that? Who does that? Who keeps bringing her daughter into the argument? She already said that Evelyn's daughter was a little bit promiscuous, and that she learned it from Evelyn, and that Evelyn condoned that behavior. That's why they initially fell out. It was a lot of mess. They didn't speak for like 5 years, got back together, and then Evelyn started warning Jen about Christian. Jen doesn't want to hear the warning. She doesn't want to hear the warning from anybody. She's just like Ashley on Love is Blind, except not as young at all. Okay. And that's a big difference, right? So when you're young, like Ashley, if you make a mistake, we kind of give you a little bit of a pass because we think, well, she's a sweet baby. She doesn't know. Girl, Jennifer, you know this is ridiculous. You know, we're not giving you that pass. You are about 20 years past the pass, my love. 20 years past the pass. We're not doing it. But yeah, so Evelyn shared with me that she also has an OnlyFans page. She said that she is not on Demon Time. She is just showing off her body in bathing suits and other behind the scenes things. She did say that she had she realized that like a feet, people have a feet fetish and she has pretty feet. But she said that her YouTube, her OnlyFans is not provocative like that, or, overtly sexual like that. It is just her and what she's done, and she's proud of how she looks and she's showing it off, but it's not in a way that would be considered like corn or anything like that. Still, OnlyFans is a weird option. She also has a podcast with her daughter Shanice, who just became a mother to a child by the game. Now, I saw earlier an article that suggested that at one point Evelyn went out on a date with Game. I hope that's not true. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say I hope that's not true. If anybody knows different, please let me know. But I'm going to say I hope and pray that that's not true. Because if so, we got a whole heap of trouble here. A whole heap of trouble. But basketball-wise, one of them needs to leave. Probably Jennifer. Jennifer at this point might as well just apply to be on Real Housewives of Atlanta, because she's in Atlanta with this little young Christian boy. And it's not like Phaedra said that Phaedra told me that she never wanted to get married again, but she enjoyed playing with her little boy toy. I'm okay with that. My problem is the fact that Jennifer married the boy toy. You don't marry him. In the words of Toni Braxton, why'd you marry him? Why'd you marry him? All bad. Horrible, horrible, horrible. So anyway, that is my Basketball Wives wrap up. I don't really care about any of the other stories. I don't know about Ming and Ty. This is just silly to me. You're supposed to be not together anymore, but you're sleeping together naked. Like, I don't want to play those games. And Brittany Renner and Kevin Gates, I don't have the mental bandwidth to do that. So Jackie Christie, still Jackie Christie. And yeah, so that is about all I have for you guys today. I thank you for tuning in on a Tuesday. We went up on a Tuesday as opposed to a Monday. Let me know in the comments what you thought about my conversation about the AMAs. If you loved Janet Jackson's performance like I did. Did we talk about the AMAs? I don't think we did. You know what? I'm tired. So that must be what's going on with me. Janet Jackson got the Icon Award at the AMAs. Everything. From the time I was a kid, Janet Jackson was everything. She is still everything. She looked amazing. She was dancing. She's Janet. Miss Jackson, if you're nasty. I did appreciate the Zach Brown for this Voice of the Veteran. He has a nonprofit based here in Georgia that really looks out and advocates for veterans. And since the AMAs was hosting the awards on Memorial Day, they did a new award titled Voice of the Veteran. and Zach Brown received it for his work on behalf of veterans. And I really think that was important because, yeah, we liked the hype and to see all the performances, but that was really, really dope to kind of bring that into the celebration. I want to say Jennifer Lopez hosted, and she had several wardrobes, which, you know, Jennifer's definitely has the look. Like Jennifer's beautiful, and she usually gets her fashions right. She's impeccable in my taste on the red carpet. I did not like what she had on for her performance number, that electronic bodysuit. That was really weird to me. It was weird, and it was almost like Jennifer was trying to prove that she could sing. Like, I don't know. Obviously, it bothers her that people don't think that she can really sing. And maybe we're right, but holding that microphone really long doesn't mean that you can sing. It just doesn't. We don't like it. We don't like it. I mean, we tolerate it. It can work with pop, but it's not a memorable voice. It's not good. That's just my take on it. It's like she was going to prove to us that she could sing, dance, and act all in one award show. And we know that you're a great performer because she gives it her all, but it's just not right. Like, I'm not really ready to give it a whole stamp of approval yet until a little bit longer. But yeah, Ciara turned her music years. Goodies came out 21 years ago, which is crazy to me because that was the first album that I worked on in the music industry. First project that I got a chance to really cut my teeth on. And I remember meeting Ciara. She was so sweet. And my boss at the time had her own PR agency, and I was like, you know, under her. And Ciara was just so sweet. She called everybody miss this, miss that. Just super talented and wanted to prove herself. And she did. She did. She also went and got a very, very wealthy husband and had her some more children. So her life, I think, is one that a lot of people really admire. And she's done really, really well for herself. Outside of Ciara and Janet Jackson, and I think it's interesting that this was the first time in a long time that Taylor Swift was not at the awards. Kendrick Lamar didn't show up either. He's probably like, I have so many awards, I don't need any more. But it was a good show. It was a good show. Let me know what you guys thought. Let me know what your favorite moments were, if you had those. And I will see you, as always, right back here on Wednesday at 8 p.m. for the Dating Diaries. And I got some updates on For the Love of Mo. So make sure you tune in tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. Okay. I love you guys for watching. I'm going to go check on Sugar Pie and these puppies. And I will see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. With the Dating Diaries with, of course, my co-host Scorpio Mo. All right. You guys have a good one. Let me know what you think. Before you leave, make sure that you like and share this conversation and leave me a comment in the chat. Let me know what you think about the different artists I mentioned, and if you would be willing, you know, to get into a situation with someone that was still married, like Remy, like Papoose and Clarissa. Would you be open to that, or would you want to wait until you went public until they got married? All right. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right.